Shall we dance to the evening? Shall we move to the steel guitar? Exciting motion, beneath the spell of devotion. They swish and they sway, hula hula, oh yeah. Shall we dance to the ukulele? Shall we move to the steel guitar? Once you feel the enchantment of the hula dance, you'll be touched by the elate, hula hula maye. Shall we dance to the ukulele? Shall we move to the steel guitar? Once you feel the enchantment of the hula dance, you'll be touched by the elate, hula maye.
With Surfrider. I'm the education chair for the Huntington Beach chapter of the Surfrider Foundation, and here we have with us this morning our wonderful high school club ladies who have been here since 6:30 this morning setting up the wonderful venue for the International Surfboard Shapers Hall of Fame. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, starting with this young lady, Kelly, over here, and you tell them what your name and high school and all of that. And when we get back over here, Kimmy, then I'll take it from there. How's that?
Perfect.
So name real loud so they can hear over the music.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm from Marina High School.
Hi, I'm Jenny. I'm also from Marina High School.
I'm Tyler. I'm from Huntington Beach High School.
I'm Julia. I'm from Huntington Beach High School.
I'm Emma. I'm from Pacifica High School.
I'm Kimmy. I'm from Pacifica.
So thank you, ladies, on behalf of Surfrider for being here so early this morning to set all this up. It's a wonderful event. It's the 19th annual event. Next year's 20. So hopefully you guys can be here next year also. Everyone give a good Shaka sign. Right? Here we go, Shaka. Peace out.
Mr. Bob Bolin, the Greek, right here. Yeah, Bob. And Mike Esther, the rat, normally seen in front of you, you know, when you're surfing on Northside, when he drops in on you because he thinks he gets every wave out there. No, I'm just kidding. He's a nice guy and, you know, does a little bit of everything. And he's the guy who made these trophies. They're incredible. So let's hear a big round of applause for him, too. Right on.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, right, man.
And I'm turning it over to these guys. The Figgy over and out.
Figgy, thank you so much, man. 10 o'clock, we love you. Well, good morning, everybody. I am Bob the Greek Bolin. My good friend Mike, Mickey, Rat, Esther, and I, along with everyone associated with the ISBHOF, would like to welcome you to the 19th Annual International Surfboard Builder Hall of Fame induction. And this is our 19th year of doing this, our 3rd year here at the Surf Museum, and our 1st year that we ever had rain. So it's a real epic day. And last night, we got a show put on by Mother Nature welcoming everybody here. I hope you all enjoyed that. It was phenomenal.
Did you enjoy the fireworks show?
Yeah. It's kind of like being at Disneyland. So, we're going to shout out to Mike Esther right here and Don Ramsey for their cleanup efforts. They came out here, they hosed this place down, they cleaned it. Don trimmed the trees. Don, where are you, Don?
Right there.
Okay, hiding under a tent. All right, I don't get to do that. And, but we really appreciate everyone's efforts on that. Our very good friend Duke Ipa and his dad, world-renowned, famous surfboard builder and waterman, Ben Ipa, longtime friend. So we're going to have the blowing of the poop.
I can't believe that He just gave me his microphone.
And I was told not to, by the way, by many people. So we do have an off switch.
All right, so the blowing of the poo is a calling to the divine. It welcomes in the good spirits, pushes out the bad, calls in the community.
And waves off the rain. The rain's good. I know.
Alakai ai hai nai mai. E aloha. Aloha e, aloha e, aloha e.
Thank you for that marvelous blessing, Kalani. We're not done yet.
E ulu kini o ke akua. Ulu kane me kana loa. Ulu o hia lau kua me ka ie. A e mai no I kau kuahu. E ia ka vaila. E vai ola. E ola noa. I say these blessings in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Wow.
Kalani Akui. He's our high priest.
Duke.
The chief of the OC. And he came out to do the wonderful drums for us this year, and that's a fantastic, thank you very much.
So I don't know, a lot of you people don't probably know, but Greek made this killer surfboard, put it in the International Surf Museum, and people got to check it out, and they bought raffle tickets for it, and it went a whole year long, and yeah, that custom, and it was a custom surfboard. You totally shaped it for him, Greek, so that was just awesome.
He came up to the shaping room and watched it get done.
Nice, nothing like a custom surfboard, that's for sure. So the winner of the board, Mr. Hans Ave Maria, come on up, Hans.
Come on up, Hans.
Yeah.
Here, hang on to this. Here, Hans.
And one of Greek's personal models right there, the shorty that I know so many people have said how awesome those things work, and that thing just looks beautiful. So, Hans, what are you thinking today? How happy are you? A brand new custom board? I mean, that thing's probably worth over $1,000. You got to be stoked.
I'm very happy today. I appreciate all this wonderful water we're getting, and I'd like to thank the Surf Museum, the Sea Hack, you Frig, you Bob, and all the shapers and this excellent crowd of people who are here this morning, in spite of the rain.
Oh, so being so stoked, are you going to wax that baby up and paddle it right after the event?
Oh, leave it away. Okay, great. Thank you.
Where's the first session going to be on that baby?
Here.
HB, of course, right on. Congratulations again. Let's hear a big round of applause. Our winner right there. Yeah, now.
You better not snake me.
Now I'd like to introduce my very good friend, co-founder of this wonderful event, Mickey Rat Esther, and he's going to explain why we do this.
Why do we do this, Greg?
Because we love it. Remember, we love it. I keep telling you that, we love it.
Yes. Well, many of you heard this story, how we got started. I'm going to change it up a little bit. There's a lot of you out here that have the same story that I do. I started surfing here 61 years ago in 1957 at 9 years old. And I was on a hand-me-down board from my brother. It was a Wardy. And then I worked my butt off from 10 years old to 12 years old in a paper route to save up $93, because that's what it was going to cost me to get a new custom board. So my parents took me down to Dana Point, and many of you remember there was a little shop there in Dana Point. I walk in, I knew who it was, I never met the guy. He's sitting there at the front counter, and it's none other than Hobie. He hand-shaped my first board for me. Yeah, 93 bucks in 1960. And so I wish I still had that board. I wish I still had the sales receipt. But anyway.
You wish you still had your hair.
Yeah. Hair's overrated. It's my rain gauge. So anyway, I've had many boards since then. I went from a Hobie to a Wardy to Gordon and Smith. I wish Floyd Smith was here. And went to, when I got out of the service, came home from Vietnam, my lovely wife Lala of almost 51 years now, and my lifelong friend Ken Olson, wherever he's at, he's here. Well, they surprised me when I came home from Vietnam with a brand new Chen and Diffenderfer, so that was really cool. Then after that, I went to a board that I hooked up with Greek. So since then, I've been riding a Greek Eliminator. I hope his head doesn't get too big. But it's like an old pair of slippers, I just love it. And I've been on one of those ever since. I've won many contests on it, as he knows. So, yeah, that's my story. So anyway, now, getting to this, Greek and I are on a little surf session down at Church's in '99. And we got a report that there was a surfboard building legend had passed away. And I looked over at Greek and I told him, I said, somebody needs to do something. Somebody needs to recognize these guys before they're gone, because they're going to take all this history with them. And so Greek looks over at me, he goes, okay, let's do it. And I went, do what? And he goes, let's start it. So fortunately, Greek and I picked the first inductee, who was Bill Holden. Bill Holden's been shaping boards right here in Huntington Beach since 1948.
Long time.
Since about 1948. So we picked the first one. And how we set this up is that we were going to take the politics out of it. Sorry, Mike Posey. We didn't want any
Posey.
Yeah, we didn't want any politics in this. So we set it up to where they were going to pick their peers. Bill picked Velzy after he was inducted, and so on. But Bill's story was really cool, because we found out that he was having a party down at his house in Laguna Canyon. So I haphazardly put this together in about 4 or 5 days, wrapped it up. Greek and I went down to the party. He has a big open deck. There was probably 200 people at his birthday party. So about in the middle of the party, we went up on the deck. We asked Bill and his wife to come up. They came up. We told them why we were there. We presented them with the award. And then both of them started crying. I look over at Greek. I went, did we do something wrong here? He goes, no, I think we did something good. It was so emotional. I'm getting emotional right now just thinking about it. But since then, he picked Velzy Velzy and Bill picked Donald Takayama. Well, I don't remember. It's been so many of them. Yeah, Gordy and Jacobs. And then we got to where those 6 would pick the next 6.
Those 4.
Yeah, then we got up to 6. Yeah, so that's how it works. It just
Actually, we only have one brain cell between us, and we're too far apart. If we get closer, it works. You know.
And my lovely wife always asks me, why do you put so much time into these things? I said, because when you see the look on their face when they get it, it makes it worth it, every minute of it. So congratulations, you guys, you deserve it.
And just a little correction on the story. He didn't have a big deck. He had a little porch in the back, right next to the back door, and we were squeezed onto it. And I've known Bill Holden for years. My first board was a Bill Holden. So, but Bill and I were great friends, and he was like Rat said.
You're saying Bill doesn't have a big deck?
No, you did.
Brad Holden, thank you for bringing the award back.
Yeah.
Where are you at?
Right here. Here he is, right here.
Where is he?
Over here. Right here.
Brad, right here, stand up.
Great. Come on out here. Get out
Come
here.
on,
Get a little
come
wet.
here,
Come
get
on
over
out
here.
Come
Just
on.
let him
Hey.
see you. This is Brad Holden, Bill Holden's son, and he's probably wearing. Come up here and say a little bit about your dad.
I remember when he got that award, he was so proud, and he said nobody ever recognized me for anything in the surfing industry, so he was pretty happy about that.
And that's why your mom was in tears right behind us. She was standing in the doorway.
Yeah, I
I'll
remember
never
that
forget
too.
that.
Yeah.
And then on the way home, Rat and I looked at each other and we just said, I think we started something here.
Yeah, you certainly did.
And it's grown to this, and we got a lot of help and a lot of energy in this thing. It's really, so anyway. And thanks for bringing that award. He brings it every year. He's the carry, and I just absolutely loved his dad. Bill and I were great friends. So
thank you, and I'll bring it every year.
And you will, yes. Here, Rat.
Remind us about the budget.
Remind us about that.
So, anyway, could we get some of our let's see, we got some more past inductees here. I'm going to get you up on the stage now. You got to get from underneath that tent. Come on, Jeff Ho. Come on, Jeff. Come on.
By the way, is the volume okay? It's not too loud, not too low. Is it okay? Okay, everybody can hear?
Yeah.
Okay.
And do we have any of our other inductees, our past inductees? Let's get them up here. Wilkin, where are you? Come on.
And we didn't have our brain cells together here because somebody forgot his award and his jacket today.
And his jacket. I wasn't going to say anything, Jeff, you know. And let's see, Lisa Peterson, come on up here, get a little wet. This is Pete Peterson's daughter. In fact, she contacted me one day and said, when is my dad going to get inducted? And I said, read the list. He's already been
Gary
inducted.
Linden.
And of course, she forgot his jacket, of course. Oh, we do? Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. Okay, cool. We're going to get her up here pretty soon too. Where is she?
And her 2 daughters.
Really? Well, come on up here. You're gonna. Oh, come on, Randy French, of course.
Randy French.
I can't see y'all back there.
Well, you trying to outdo me here or something? What's this? Yeah, they're bright and they're pink. This is for cancer awareness.
Well, come on up here. This is, and you can sit, but the chairs are wet. We should take the chairs down so they can sit. They can stand further back. Would be great. Or wipe them off and sit. They're not dry.
Yeah, they're dry.
Are they? Okay, great. They got smart. And where's? Wait. Where's Jim the Genius? Come on.
Jim Phillips.
Where? Where's he at?
Get
up here. Jeez. He was hiding out. He was going to try to stay underneath that tent, stay dry. Well, too bad. Now, is there anybody else out there hiding out that we don't know about? Randy hasn't been inducted yet. So anyway, the nice thing about this, and I've started using the word rendezvous, is to get these wonderful gentlemen and gals to come back to this event on their own, to be part of it again is really special to me because I've walked in their shoes, although I didn't know them growing up. I had my nose to the grindstone of the shaping room here, and these are just wonderful guys and just as passionate about the industry and shaping surfboards as I ever was. So I'd like to introduce our, and again, thank you all for coming and supporting the event. We really appreciate it. I'd like to introduce our board members. We have Kawiho Kano, who's not with us. He couldn't make it today. Ray Bond. Where's Ray Bond? He's hiding under the tent over there. He's our videographer back in there. And we got Bruce Gabrielson under here, under the tent. He's one of our board directors. And Dick Metz couldn't make it. He's stuck in Arizona. And Dwight Dunn is stuck and his wife are stuck in Barcelona, of all places, right? And I'd like to introduce Don Ramsey and Dave Reynolds. Where are they? Come on. Dave Reynolds. Don Ramsey, come on, get out here. Get out from under that tent. Come on, you ain't gonna stay dry. Come on. These are our event directors right here.
We've also got, many of you know, Sammy Hawk sitting over here.
Wait. I'm not done. Quit stepping on my lines. And I'd like to bring up, where's Tony Soriano? Hey, Tony, come on up here. You know what, Tony? You've been such a big help. He gets the crew to help set up all these tents, and that's the reason you're dry today, if you're underneath it. Here, hold the mic. So Tony's not expecting this, but Tony's getting a jacket because he's now a board member. How's that, huh? And I got to tell you, there's a really nice plaque for it, and I couldn't find it.
That's why he didn't wear a jacket. He knew he was getting one.
He's our newest board member.
Tony has been incredible help.
He's been a tremendous help. He came on board and just started. He says, what can I do? Who can I bring? How can I help? And he brought a whole group of kids today that were up setting up tents, setting up chairs.
Yeah, a whole bunch of little
just a whole bunch
babes.
of just amazing stuff that was being done. Does it fit? Did I get it big enough? That's gotta fit you next year, and I'm not getting you a new one. I'm just saying, Tony, I'm just saying. And other notable board builders we have, and they're over here. Get over there with them. Bruce, come on, I'm going to introduce you over there. You're a board builder also. We got Randy Lewis. Where's Randy Lewis? Right there. Randy Lewis, local board builder, wonderful board builder. Bruce Gabrielson had a semi-nice name here in building surfboards in Huntington Beach. Surf Trek. Rocky McKinnon, stand up. Come on. Don Monson, stand up. Sammy Hawk, stand up. Okay. Anybody that I missed over there that are shapers and stuff that aren't being inducted yet? I got Monson. Bigelow, come on, Bigelow, stand up.
Don Bigelow.
Get up.
Thank you, Don.
And I've known, just so you know, oh my gosh.
Johnny Taylor.
Come on, John Taylor, get over there. And many of you don't know this, but Sammy Hawk and I met years ago when I had a little tiny dink of a factory behind a house up in Midway City that doesn't exist anymore. Somehow him and his brothers found us, and they started whittling little surfboards out of pieces of foam. I'd make them sweep the floor and then kick them out of there because they bugged me like crazy. And then Sammy, we got pictures of Sammy riding yeah. And before I forget, I'd like to introduce my son Michael, if he's still here. Mike, you still here? Over here, Bob. Oh, where? Michael, my son, my wonderful son Michael, broker in the real estate company with me. My beautiful wife Patty sitting under the tent over there. My oldest son Bobby over there, hanging out. We got Jerry and Julia Ray over there. They're helping at the tent. Li's helping. Everybody's helping. This has been a great event, and we get a lot of appreciated help. Mike Hirschbaumer. Where is he? Yeah, but he's in the wrong area. He's supposed to be over here under this tent. Bill Fury, under the wrong tent. And great surfer, by the way. Arlen Sarlo over there. Oh my gosh, you got so many wonderful. Way to go, Rat. So, is there anybody that I missed? Oh, Blinky. Blinky Hubina. I'm sorry, Blinky. Blinky came all the way down here from Ventura area. He's a great shaper. We got Morgan Boozer here. Who else? Scott Anderson. And Gene Cooper from Cooperfish. Come on, Gene. Yay, there's creepers. And who am I missing? Huh? Scott Anderson. Oh, the Willis brothers are here. Oh my, I've never met them. Where are the Willis brothers? Oh, we got Duke Ipa sitting there. Come on, get over here, Duke. You're in the wrong area. You know.
Duke will be in here one day, but many, many years from now.
Got to earn your way in, buddy. Yeah, when you get old, that's it. So, and then we've got our own, not a shaper, but Chuck Lennon's back there. We definitely will not give him the microphone.
Chucky, we love you.
No way. Ain't gonna happen.
Quick little story. Chucky saved my butt when I first got my Hobie at 12 years old. I'm on Southside surfing, and Chuck is good friends with my brother Dave. I'm out there and I take off on a wave, and who did I take off in front of? Of course I took off in front of somebody, but it was none other than Jack Haley. Chucky grabbed me, pulled me out the side, and said, "Rat, don't you ever take off in front of him or anybody. You're gonna get your butt kicked out here." So thank you for saving my life.
I got some stories I can tell about Chuck, but I can't tell them here. And we'd now like to recognize our hardworking government and city officials who may be in attendance. I don't know if Dana made it. Mike Posey, I know made it. Come on, Mike, he's running for mayor right here. Mike Posey, come on up here, City Council. He is the mayor. He's the mayor.
Good morning, Bob and Mickey. Thanks for inviting me up here. I do have the privilege of serving as your mayor. It's an honor and a privilege to be the mayor, and it's an honor and a privilege to be involved in the surfing community. We have so many events here that honor our culture. Surf City is our culture, and I did just get to spend some time being Bob's intern about a year ago. And I was amazed when I walked in. I'm looking at it, where's his AutoCAD? No AutoCAD. Where does simulation software? It doesn't have that. Where does the CNC machine? It doesn't have that. But I'm truly in awe of the talent of the surfboard shapers, because they were able to use intuition, trial and error, whatever it is, to really demonstrate that they're scientists of hydrology. So I'm impressed and honored to be here. Thank you. When can I come back, Bob?
Thanks for being here. And I think Eric Peterson was here a little while ago. Is he still here? He mentioned he had to take off. Yeah. And just Patrick Brendan was here. He's there. Patrick, you want to say anything? No? Okay. That was enough said. Okay, enough political stuff. All right. Billy O'Connell, Lynn Sameta, anybody? Jill Hardy, Barbara DeGlaze, Dave Garfalo, past mayor of Huntington Beach. Kelly Fritzl, are you here today? Kelly, make it? Dave, you want to come up here and say something? You always love a mic, I know that. You sure? Okay, yeah, well, okay, I'll go along with that. And at this time, we'd like to introduce you to all of our inductees and present them with their leis Hawaiian style, and introduce our lovely, fantastic flower lady, Tina Toulouse. She takes the time every year to do these wonderful leis. And we're going to invite them up. And
all these, does the koa.
That comes later.
Good girl.
Here. Okay. We've got Bob Newland and Peter Townend are accepting for Ken Adler. So can we get those gentlemen up here? And I understand that Bob Newland, been a while, he knew Ken, he knew PT. Maybe you guys here stand right down there on the ground, because you're gonna get a lei. Not that kind. Well, no, Paul was supposed to accept for it. And is Scott Busby here? Okay, yeah. And I get Gary Linden. Gary, go on down there. He's accepting for Harold Walker, who couldn't make it. But Gary Linden was his manager, right? Okay, that's good. Mike Mitchington. Fantastic local surfboard builder. You guys, you want to face them? You face the crowd. Come up along here and face the crowd so that they can get good videos and get your wonderful faces. And then we have Abel Gomes. I understand we have a relative of Abel Gomes here. Could we get
Tippy.
that relative up here?
We have Tippy. She is Abel Gomes' granddaughter.
Okay. And last but not least, we have Robbie Dick. Oh my gosh. Huh? Oh, yeah. And Angie, where are you? Come on up here, Angie. Angie Prisendorfer, come on. Where'd you go? Ah, there she is. All these whips were never Okay, so now where do you, we were going to sit them all back down in there except so they could walk on the carpet, right? So you guys got to go find a seat out there. I don't know if I thought we had set something up, but we're not perfect yet. So our first inductee, are you ready? Are you ready, Diane? Okay, you're going to have one on each hand. Our first inductee is Ken Adler. So we got PT, Bob, you're up. We're going to walk with you. You're going to walk. She's going to walk you up. Come on, arm in arm.
We get escorted. Apparently, yes.
Red carpet.
Let's go. Come on, let's go. You guys got the next one?
Yeah. So come on up. Come on up here. Okay, so in any event, here, why don't you sit on the other side next to Rat? You got a mic for him. I got a mic for PT. And Ken Adler, these guys knew him, so I'm going to let them talk as soon as I quit getting my shower here from the big board above me. Let them talk about Ken. Now, Ken Adler. He's a wonderful board builder, loved in Australia, but these guys know way more about him than I do. He sent his, as a matter of fact, I'll read this. I have a little thing that says, my father was an expert surfer on solids, made his own. Then copied Blake's hollows. Doyle, my best friend and mentor, was able to convince Don Hansen to give me a shaping position on my way home from Peru, the World Contest, where I shaped in the summer of '65. Then I shaped alongside Brewer at John Price's Surfboards Hawaii and Encinitas. Back in Australia, founded Adler's Surf Shop, but then moved to Hayden's, where we became the leading manufacturer at one stage, had a 14-week waiting period. Candy Calhoun and I had no idea about any of this. My partner and I began San Juan Surfboards in Byron Bay. I'm sorry to say my health is not well enough to travel these days, and I'm not able to attend the induction ceremony. Thank you for choosing me. Cheers. And this event just touches many of those guys right in the heart. And I'm going to turn it over to PT and Bob.
Bob, go right ahead, mate.
Well, a privilege to be able to represent Ken. I first met Ken in '68 in Byron Bay. I was there surfing, just escaping Sydney's winter, and was very fortunate. Ken offered me a job glassing, and then we spent many hours not only in his shaping room but in the glassing room with new techniques for glassing. And boards were changing so quickly that year in particular. We were surfing Linux Head, and all of a sudden with speed boards, no more fat, long boards at all. I think the biggest board we were making then was about 7.6 down to 7 foot. And Ken had a phenomenal situation where he'd look at boards and different designs and what we could do to not only improve the shapes of the boards and the speed of the boards, but the lightness of the boards. We got boards down at that time down to 6.5 pounds with a technique that he designed in his mind and had me implement. It was a very interesting time, and I can't express enough how much he's such a good friend Ken is, and over all these years. He started surfing in 1958 at Snapper Rocks, and also Greenmount Point, which doesn't exist anymore, only because of super tubes on the Gold Coast. But I'll let PT take over from here.
Yeah, it's an honor for me to be up here. You heard the Greek talk about what Ken had to say, but I always like people who know me that I do some emceeing. I like to do a little, always bring something to remind me. But the Adler family in Australia is royalty. This is Ken Adler's dad in the 40s in Australia, and then of course they moved up to Queensland from Sydney, and you mentioned there was a mention of Adler surfboards. I actually worked there at one point before the San Juan got started. But the real connection for me is that Ken Adler was the first Queensland surfing champion in 1964. And I have some images here that you can see up on the top, is that he's getting on the plane to go to the World Championships in '64. The one that also in this picture, Phyllis O'Donnell, who was the first ever world champion, because the women were before the men. So Midget Farrelly won the men's, but actually Phyllis O'Donnell was the first ever person to be called a world champ. And out there, if you're looking at it, it'll be on the left-hand side, is Joe Larkin, who we inducted here 5 or 6 years ago, and he was the team manager. So my connection goes back to Ken Adler. And then, of course, he went down to, after Peru, which he was on the Australian team with Nat Young and Midget Farrelly and, you know, some of Australia's surfing royalty. But then after coming back to the Gold Coast and just mucking around at Adler's, he went down to Byron Bay and started San Juan and became an incredible influence in that area, the Northern Rivers, Byron Bay, Lennox Head. And it's really a shame that he couldn't be here today, and it's my honor just to say a few words on his behalf. I hope you're listening down there, Ken. I know we're not broadcasting this, but somebody's probably taping it, and I'll get it to you. And then I actually have to get back up with Angie in a little while for my mate Rusty, but I just want to, seeing it's raining, I got to put this hat on that Rich Wilkin bought for me. Keep my hair dry, right? He said it was really hard to get a pink one, but he managed to get one. So I just have to have a shout out to Rich Wilkin, and I will pass my regards on to Ken Adler when I'm in Australia later in the early part of next year. Thank you.
Okay, well, we've got the award for him. We've got his jacket and his T-shirt. And so, to our guys, where's Don Ramsey? Where are you? Come on, you're supposed to be bringing up the jacket and stuff. What are you thinking? Trying to stay under that tent, stay dry, is that it? Come on. And Dave is supposed to be helping here too. Where's Dave? There he is. Now the interesting thing is, everybody that's ever been inducted has received a jacket with their name on it and the year that they were inducted. And the big emblem on the back, show the big emblem. Oh, you got it on your back. You're good. On the back, that's of course the Hawaiian crest. And on the bottom, there's in Hawaiian language right here, it says, honoring the past to preserve the future in Hawaiian. And so that logo is very, very important, very unique to us. And
I really appreciate this. This is something Ken's going to treasure. And I'm hoping to see him in the next few weeks when I go back for a short visit.
well, he'll already have it. Now, Ken's son came out, Danny, he came to the office. We actually had a small induction and gave him his dad's award. So his dad actually has his award in Australia. And he's just pleased as punch that he got. They sent us some pictures of him passing it off to his dad. So that was nice for us. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming up and coming down here. And we'll get all this stuff in a t-shirt for him. No, it goes, we're going to mail it. Yeah. Yeah, we'll put all that together.
Boy, he sure got stripped quick.
Yeah, he did. Now we'll just kick him to the curb. Thanks for coming out. We really appreciate it. Okay. Is Scott Busby here? Where's Scott Busby? There he is, right? Scott, come on, Deanna. Do your thing. Oh, we got the little Grommy.
Hang on.
No, they're good. They're one of our Grom surfer girls. Bringing up Scott Busby. Now let's see. I told somebody else to come up here at the same time. There he is. Oh yeah. She come up and make that.
We'll do it right after Scott.
Okay. Well, this is Scott Busby. Here, Scott, get in the middle. You're the important guy here. And I can't read all that. I'll be here for. This is. He started. You know, the interesting thing about Scott is he's an East Coast guy, right? And I got this bio. It's about 16 pages long. And guess who helped him do it? And. But the thing that really impressed me about it, he started surfing when he was about 15 years old. He bought his first board from the O'Hare shop. Is that right? And Pat O'Hare was inducted just last year, right? He didn't come out. He was very ill, but I had the opportunity to meet Pat O'Hare on the, and he also he bought an O'Hare McRoberts, typical surfboard stuff. Has anybody ever ordered a board in this group? Ordered a board. How many of you got it on time? and we've heard every excuse in the world. I thought I made them all up until I talked to some of these guys. Oh my gosh.
No, even my first board from Hobie took like 6 weeks.
So I'll read this part. It was really funny. He was going to be a 155 board to be done in 2 weeks. 2 weeks went by and I rode up to get my new board. It wasn't ready. It'll be ready next week. It still wasn't ready. This went on for several weeks. Sound familiar? Next week, it still wasn't ready. This went on for several weeks. They got tired of seeing me and told me it still wasn't started, but they'd sell me an O'Hare McRoberts right off the floor for $155 instead of the $175. Is that one they were trying to get rid of? Yo. Were times changing at that time? Yes. So he was dying to ride his new board, so thinking he got a steal, took him up on his offer. About a month or two later, Nat Young wins the World Championships in San Diego, and all of a sudden my 9.6 O'Hare McRoberts model was obsolete. And a friend of his just bought a Jacobs, a 9-foot Mike Purpose model, and then he went on to get a 9.8 or an 8.10 Featherlight from the Weber shop. His dad wasn't happy with that, correct? Oh my gosh. So then he started cutting boards up and shaping them. What a travesty. Don't you wish you had some of those back now that you hadn't cut up, right? He cut one up, put it together, shaped it, glassed it back together, and he said, how'd it work?
Terrible.
It says down here, it says horrible and rode like crap. I just wanted to pass that on there. So his friend down the street wanted to do the same thing, and they became good friends with Greg Lohr. Now, Greg Lohr is another inductee of the International Surfboard Builder Hall of Fame. And Greg's another one. He's not coming up. Is he here? Where'd he go? Get him here.
How come
Come on.
Greg? How come Greg's not over here?
Come on, get up here. Huh? Whoa! Oh, he's hiding under the tent. There wasn't enough room. And Greg, and he also hung out with Rick Holt and Pete Dooley. Pete Dooley, another inductee. So I was blown away. The guy that really blew me away first was Jeff Ho. I don't know where he went. Jeff Ho had such a following when we inducted him at Doheny. It was mind-blowing. I'm going, who is this guy? I had never met him. You know, long beard, and hair, and all that stuff. But he was Dogtown. He was the man. You know. And then all of a sudden we get Greg Lohr up here. Everybody loved Greg Lohr. I'm the Greek. I'm here, but they loved him. I was blown away. So, anyway, long story short, this young man right here is being inducted this year. This is Scott Busby from the East Coast, and I'm going to let Bruce tell you a couple things about him, and I'll let Greg Lohr tell you a couple things about him. And then maybe we'll let him talk, who knows.
All right, well, Greg told you a lot of his story. One thing I really like about Scott, he makes the entire board. We were talking a little earlier, and it was interesting. I said, well, how many boards do you do at a time? He says, well, sometimes one, sometimes two, sometimes even three. And I'm thinking to myself, the entire board, start to finish, and he's going to work on 3 at a time? Wow. But that's not what's really cool about this guy. He lives in Hurricane Central, and his shop is at the point right by the lighthouse in Cape Hatteras. Now, if you want to know about hurricanes, you talk to him. His son, when he was 7 years old, he'd already seen how many hurricanes?
14 or 15.
That's impressive. Anyway, here, you want to say something about it?
Well, when Scott was cutting up those boards, and I was one of them that was cutting them up with him. And we built boards in his mom's garage. And Scott is probably, definitely, as good a craftsman as anyone I've ever seen. From start to finish at every station, he's absolutely fantastic. And his boards are beyond gorgeous. So he belongs here.
Well, say a few words, Scott.
The only thing I have to say is I want to thank everybody here, and there's a lot of people I want to thank, but I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of good people over the years. Started out with a guy named Chuck Hunes up in New Jersey. He helped me out a lot, and then it was Pete and Greg and Tommy Moss and Richard Price. A lot of these people, you know, I've worked with them and learned a lot from them over the years. And then my good friend Lynn Shell, he started work. I started teaching him how to do it, and we all feed off each other all the time. I got a good friend, Don Bowers, who's worked at many places in Florida and through North Carolina, and we learn from each other all the time. And I've been fortunate to have this guy lately, Curtis Krama, who works with me, who's just great. We've worked together a lot on new epoxy construction and stuff for a long, long time. And it's just been fun, and it's still a lot of fun to me, and I just enjoy it today. Shape boards, just before I got on the plane to get it here, I had some customs to do. That's it. Thank you, everybody.
Here's your award.
It's my honor to present you with this.
Your jacket. Thank you. And your t-shirt. Congratulations and welcome to the group. Now, there is one job you have to do, and we need it quickly. So you can give it to me later today, or you can next week, whenever. But we're going after the names.
Now.
The just so everybody knows, and it's already been mentioned, that his job is to induct the next guy from the East Coast. So we want that name. And congratulations. All the way from the East Coast, ladies and gentlemen, to receive that award. And oh yeah. Hey, Dave, where are you? Over here? Grab a mug. Is there a mug under there somewhere? Okay. Could I get the ever always happy, always smiling, my good friend Gary Linden up here? Where'd you go, Gary? I saw you. There he is. Somebody better walk him up. That's right. We got to hold him up, walk him up. Gary Linden is accepting for Harold Walker. Gary used to manage his shop, and I'm going to let Gary say a few words about him. And Gary is a real interesting guy. He shapes a phenomenal gun. He rides big waves. He helps with contests. And he's got one of the most infectious smiles you'll ever want to see right there. Is he doing it right now? Is he? Okay, great. I figured he would be. And I'll never forget, we were at a contest one day, and I don't know if you remember this. He goes, "Congratulations, Creek, you found your way to get out. How did you do it?" And I've seen pictures of this guy right here with foam dust all over his face, all over his arms. He's a fabulous craftsman. Come on over here, get in the middle, and say a few words about Harold Walker.
Well, thank you, Bob. You know, I know a lot of you came out here to see Harold. He's a friend of a lot of people here, and I'm going to make sure he gets a hello from you. He couldn't be here today with us. He's enjoying his retirement up in Oregon, but he did send us some weather. So thanks for the rain, Harold. We needed it down here.
So he's here in spirit. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Yeah, he's always with me. I'll tell you, he's a dear friend and one of the mentors of my life. In fact, when he called me to ask me to accept the award, he said, "Hell, Gary, you ran Walker Foam. Can't think of anybody better to talk for me. Tell him some stories." And that really meant a lot to me because I entered into Walker Foam during the crisis when Clark Foam closed. Harold was in the hospital. His son-in-law, who was running Walker Foam, was overseas at the time. And he had a crew of about 5 people that I don't think, maybe one of them spoke English. And Harold said, "Well, maybe you can go up." I go, "Can I help out?" And he goes, "Well, maybe you can go up there and answer the phone for me while I'm gone." Oh boy, it was like answering a suicide crisis hotline. There was no foam. We were building 50 blanks a week. I didn't know how to make foam. I knew how to shape it, but we got production up to 500 in 2 weeks over Christmas with an all-Latin crew, and in a month we were doing 1,000 a week, and there was a lot of stuff going on, but it really made a man out of me, I'll tell you that much. So, and my Spanish got extremely good after that. You don't really learn a language until you have to run a business, because you sure don't want to tell somebody to do something you don't really want them to do. Anyway, I think it's really, really fitting that this is not called Surfboard Shapers Hall of Fame, but it's called Surfboard Builders Hall of Fame, because Harold Walker is and was one of the greatest builders of all time that I've ever met. He helped build this industry. Without Harold Walker and Gordon Clark, there would be no great shapers. When we needed foam, Harold figured out how to make foam. When he left the business in the 70s, you know, he and Gordon Clark had a bit of a competition going, and I don't think he ever forgot that Gordon Clark came out on top of that, but he went on to build houses. He did quite well in that. Came back in the late 90s, early 2000s, something like that, and started building foam again. And at that time, Donald Takayama was his biggest customer, and he gave me a sample blank, and I never looked back. Started using Walker foam. It was just stronger, and I thought it served better. But Harold didn't quite get the business. It was hard going for him, and so he decided to increase his volume and go vertical. So he built his own CNC shaping machine. Come on, I couldn't even figure out how to use one, but he built one. when he decided that that we weren't getting enough business because blanks, our foam boards would dent, and the molded boards that were coming from overseas wouldn't dent, he started experimenting with vacuum bagging. He just never stopped. I mean, if he needs something, he built it. He's up there redoing a house right now in Oregon. But he was really technical also, and that was one of the lessons he taught me. I always wanted a lighter board, and I came to him one day and I said, Harold, can you make the foam a little lighter? And he goes, how light do you want it? I'm not the most technical guy, you know, so I said, well, I want it lighter, Harold, you know, I want some lighter foam. And he goes, how light do you want it? And I go, Harold, I just told you I want it lighter. So he turned around and gave me a scale. He goes, tell me how light you want it. And I still have the scale. And I measure a little bit of things right now. I'm going to tell you one more story, then I'll let you go. Last time I talked to him, about a year, well, not the last time, but a while back when I talked to him, he goes, well, what are you doing, Gary? You know, what's going on? I go, well, I'm still working. I'm still making some boards, and I'm working with the World Surf League, running some events. And I go, I should be retired. I'm like almost 68. You know, I'm almost, you know, should be retired. And he goes, Gary, do you like to read? And I go, well, not too much, not really. And he goes, keep working.
Thank you, Gary. And Gary is a great shaper, a great surfer, and just a wonderful guy. So here, come on, get over here, get a hit picture. Come on, get a picture. Come on, turn that around. Thank you, Gary, for coming out. Yeah. And we'll get that stuff turned. We'll pack it up and get it, unless you're going to go see him. Okay. Okay. All right. Is this thing still working? Okay. Where's Mike Mitchington? Come on, Mike. Wow, do you think Mike has a local following? Come on up here, Mike.
Rock star.
I've known Mike for an awful long time, and Rocky McKinnon wants to say something about him too. But I'm going to read what we have. Mike Mitchington specializes in creating, and this came from Ray Bond. This came right off of our website, Ray. You're going to love it because you remember it. He specializes in creating classic and high-performance longboards and shortboards, as well as being considered the best surfboard woodworker in the industry, and that's saying something. Mike is an expert in the creation of balsa surfboards, as well as wood surfboard fins, custom tail blocks. If you ever wanted a balsa surfboard, you have to get a Mike Mitchington handcrafted balsa board. And I've been trying for a couple of years, because I've never really worked in wood. I've never done balsa. I can emulate it very well, but I've never really done it. And I'm going to get together with Mike one of these days. He's going to kind of show me some tricks of the trade, and I will do one. Mike is also known for the lost art of performance retro surfboard creation, including all the classics from resin swirls to Voland glass. He was a head shaper for Robert Aga surfboards for over 21 years, shaped longboard and shortboards for Wind and Sea surfboards for 25 years, shaped longboard and shortboard boards for Corky Carroll, Alex Nose, Brian Anderson. You may know some of these names, you know. Josh Moore, Paul Strow, Wingnut, Mickey Dora, Joey Hawkins, Mary Osborne, Mike Doyle, Lance Carson, and a host of other professionals and well-known surfers. 40 years of longboard and shortboard shaping and board building experience, designed numerous models for Surf Tech. Is that right? Randy, come on, get up here next to him then if he did that. Come on, get off from under that tent if you want. Is that on there? Is he on there? No, it's not on there. Anyway, including the Sabre model, longboard, the Wingnut, the stand-up paddleboard, shaped many boards for movies like Endless Summer 2, Chasing Dora, Step into Liquid. Mike Mitchington spent the last 2 years traveling back and forth to Ecuador, perfecting the art of shaping balsa surfboards at Shark Bay Balsa. Is that right, Mike? Mike has been a Huntington Beach local since 1960. That's the year I graduated high school. Thank you very much. He grew up surfing Huntington Beach and began shaping longboard surfboards out of his garage for friends, and that is a common thread between a whole bunch of us. How many of us started shaping boards in our dad's garage? There they go. Look at the hands go up. That's great. Using old hand tools eventually gained quite a few customers and reputation for shaping custom hand-shaped surfboards. His unique style and quality of surfboard shapes caught the attention of many surfboard shapers and surfers. It eventually landed him a job at Robert August Surfboards, where he became the head shaper. His hand shaped well over 15,000 surfboards. And I think Rocky wants to say a few words.
One little thing, when Mike stepped up here on the stage, I did a job for him a while back, and he stepped up on the stage and he goes, "Mickey, I still owe you a shape." Well, now that he's somebody, I'll let him shape my board.
And Rocky wanted to say a few words.
Hey everybody, want to first thank Bob, Mickey, Surf Museum, everybody that had their hand in it in this amazing event, because guys like me coming up through the ranks trying to just, we're in the shadow of these legends, and for us to rub elbows and get to talk story with people that really founded this industry is truly an honor, and I'm so grateful to be here. So thank you guys. Thank you everybody.
Thank you, Rocky.
So my background, I'm a Huntington Beach transplant coming from Downey, and when I told my mom that I was going to work with a bunch of grown men at Spanners, she was a little concerned, and if you know Mike, her concerns were valid. So here I was, 19 years old, in one of the biggest factories in California under some of the best and well-known names in the industry. And as I got started and working under, and you know, when you're 19, you're kind of a gopher, and I started polishing, but I wanted to learn how to shape. That's where I wanted to do. I wanted to put my thoughts into something creative with my hands and build. And fortunately for me, I was amongst some of the best. So when I got started, Mike saw that, and he nurtured that through a little gentle ribbing as he'd walk by, and he'd go, "Oh, whoa, like, man, you know, I got dizzy looking at that rail there." But then he would take his time and nurture my passion and show me, you know, what I was doing wrong, and help me along and save probably a lot of blanks from destruction. So I'm going to get just a quick insight into not just the shaper, but the man. So coming from Downey, you know, it was a long drive. I drove an old van, and it was a gas guzzler. So him and Dave Carlos would let me stay in Huntington and sleep on their couch. And he knew I wanted to be pro surf guy and shaper guy, and he really helped nurture that. And one cool story is full-on Chandler, Rick Kane moment. We're on our way to Bolsa Chica. It's offshore conditions, and I always try to get this guy to surf, and that was really hard, but it was offshore at about 3 to 5 feet, and that's what Mike loves. And so we're on our way down, and I look in the back. I packed my board in there, and I'm a light, high-performance longboard kind of guy. I like to actually turn my board. So I look in the back, and there's this big old balsa wood, single fin, heavy board, and I'm like, "You're gonna ride that?" And so we go out, and needless to say, I got schooled. And you know, here I was, light offshore wind, like these offshore winds, trying to get into waves, trying to pull up into the barrel, and just having a hard time going over the falls. And I look, I remember distinctly paddling out once, and it was just one of these classic moments, almost like kind of, you guys see the classic Jerry Lopez. He drops in, fades, and pulls up in the barrel with the soul arch. Well, just imagine that right here at Bolsa Chica, you know, and I got to witness that hands-on, got to see Mike just absolutely thread so many barrels on a perfect offshore day, and I just have that imprinted on my brain and just want to, you know, it just wasn't the shaping room, but it was also in the water. And then his son Forrest can't be here because he's globetrotting, and that's another thing is he taught me how to be an amazing role model and father. As you guys know, Forrest is an accomplished motocrosser, shaper, and really making a name for himself. And it's because of him that, you know, I've learned to do well in our community, as you guys know, with some of the stuff I got going on. So this man is one to not, is kind of run from acclaim and accolades. So I just want to, you know, this honor today is so poignant and fitting because this man has done so much, not just in our industry, but in our community to pave the way for so many of us. So I just want to say congratulations and thanks for being my mentor.
Well, for all of you locals, you're going to understand this. I'd like to introduce you to the new Chuck Lennon.
Well, Chucky is known for talking on the microphone. Hey, you're running a close second, Rocky. But he was saying how grown up these guys were at Spanners. My shop is right next to theirs, so I know how grown up they were. Every time I'd be at my shop, all these guys would be out in the back drinking brewskis and sunning themselves. Oh, yeah, they were full of foam dust. Right, Michelle?
Well, they got that clock up there. It says 5 o'clock wherever it is.
Yeah.
I know that's always 5 o'clock.
Always
somewhere.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Congratulations, Mike, and welcome to the club.
It's my honor.
And don't forget, you have a job. Now here, I'm gonna let you say something.
I just want to thank everybody for showing up and thank Mike and Robert. Yeah, Don, everybody. It's really an honor to be here. Nervous. So,
Give us a story.
Oh, come on. Give you a story. All the things that Rocky said were some kind of true. But I don't know what kind of story I can tell you. I'm too nervous. But anyway.
Well, who taught you?
Oh, who taught me how to shape? I started out on my own. Taught myself. And, you know, I was one of those guys.
In your dad's garage?
In my dad's garage. And I was one of those guys tearing apart really old classic boards and reshaping those. You know, I'm another one of those guys who tore apart some really beautiful boards. And but it led to where I'm at now, and kind of glad I did. So, but anyway, thanks for everybody coming out, and thank you very much.
Congratulations, Mike. Well deserved. And don't forget, you know your job. You need your next pick. And this young man here was picked by none other than Robert August. Just so you know.
Okay, everybody heard it here. You owe me a shape.
You owe me one too. Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, maybe you'll learn something, Greek.
Here, I'll try. I'll take a lesson. Okay. We're going to have PT up again, and Angie. Where are they? There they are. Because next up is Rusty, from Rusty Surfboards. And he was born 53, 10 years after me. Yeah. And I'm going to let... And from what I understand, Angie was the brains behind the whole thing. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I heard. Well, come on up here, and I'm just going to turn the mic right over to them because they, of course, know him better than I. Here, get right.
Well, I'll start off with actually, it's Angie's birthday today. How about giving her a round of applause there? So the Greek just mentioned that Rusty was born in 1953, and that's the same year as me. So we're only 10 days apart in birthdays, and we've been friends for a mighty long time. And we both started surfing around about the same time. He started in La Jolla, and of course I started in the Gold Coast in Coolangatta. But he was in La Jolla Shores, and he had a couple of early surfboards. Was a Mirrodin Brothers twin pin, because down there at that time they had the twin pin thing going on, and Steve List developed the fish out of that. But he started making boards because Mitch's, you could buy a blank for roughly $30 and put it together for $30. So he started making boards in the late 60s. But the real development came, he moved to Oahu,
with his parents in '71. And it's pretty cool to read what he wrote here, that he wanted a brewer. He wanted a brewer. And he couldn't get a real brewer. So you know what he got? He got a Sam Hawk. Where's Sam? He got a Sam Hawk. Sam, that must have been an early one in the early days, mate. Right? 71? Must have been.
Hey, Sammy Hawk, stand up.
Yeah, and
Sammy Hawk.
I think
Everybody knows
it's
Sammy.
I think it's super cool that one of the guys acknowledged being inducted today can go back and remember that board, and he said it was one of the best boards he ever had. So from there, he went back to La Jolla, and I happened to get to La Jolla in the '72, the next year, for the World Contest, and that's when I first met Rusty, and we became friends. He was now shaping at G&S, and of course he wanted me to give a shout out to Larry Gordon, and then through that relationship, the next year he moved to Australia because he wanted to be Wayne Lynch, and hung out in my home area on the Gold Coast. And then came back and started at a little label called Music in La Jolla, and it was pretty popular with the local following. But then the real change came when John Durwood had a glassing factory, and it was called Canyon. And everyone out here probably remembers there was a period of time when Canyon was just the epitome of the modern shortboard, with guys like Sean Thompson and Wes Lane and a whole host of people. And then he was also judging WSL, which was in those days the IPS and ASP contests, and was one of the first to make a thruster because he ran into Simon Anderson. And then he had a team that was pretty crazy. But the thing that really changed was then in July 4th, 1985, he started Rusty Surfboards. At this point in time, Angie was involved in this as well. And we go way back because my daughter was a little girl, a flower girl in their wedding. And so 1985, they start Rusty, and it grew like phenomenal. And the change that really happened was a young Australian by the name of Mark Occhilupo turned up in San Diego at Ocean Beach on a board that Rusty was watching. He said it didn't look like it was working too good. So he made Occhi a board, and all of a sudden, Occhi, in the next contest he went in, came third in an IPS World Championship Tour event. And Bob Hurley was sponsoring Occhi at the time for Billabong, and he called up Rusty and said, hey, can you make Occhi some boards? And so he made Occhi some boards, and that started a relationship that was kind of interesting, because at the same time you had Al Merrick with the Kelly Slater thing, and you had Rusty with Mark Occhilupo. And in that period of time in the 80s, those two brands became the key brands of that 80s period. He wanted to make sure that I gave a shout out to Randy French, who nominated him today for this award. And Randy's here, and I know he just had surgery, and he's still here. I can't believe it. Where is he? Where is he? In the back corner over there? He apologizes that he's not here today to accept this award, and Angie decided she'd come up and do it on his behalf. He wants to give a shout out to the family, to his son Clint, who is a really good shaper in his own accord these days at Rusty in San Diego. His daughter Avalon, an incredible artist now, who's a graphic artist at Vizsla, the Paul Nordiste company, the new sister startup. And of course, he wants to give a shout out to his wife Angie. And with that said, he is personally one of my best friends. If I could name 5 friends on one hand, he's one of them. I've been in situations with him that where could have been in a brawl, and I had him for backup, thank God, because he's about 6'5". And I'm really honored to be up here on his behalf, and now Angie will accept on his behalf.
Well, I'd like to say thank you to the museum and to you both. And I met Rusty in 1978 when I was 16 on the beach at La Jolla Shores.
And you were hot. I remember. Well, she's still hot, but she was really hot then. I'm lifting her out, Sadie. I know.
And Rusty and I got married in '84, and we started this brand together. And we are very proud of how it has turned out. And Rusty still shapes almost every day, but very late at night. So on behalf of our family and Rusty, thank you.
You're welcome, and definitely well deserved.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Rusty Priesendorf. This is a Lifetime Achievement Award for being in this industry, and it's not an easy industry to be in. Thank you for coming out, Angie. And real pleasure to meet you. PT, thanks for standing in. That was just wonderful.
God, I wish Rusty owed me a shape.
Was that?
I wish Rusty owed me a shape.
Did Paul Stroud, did he ever make it here?
I never saw Paul.
I never saw Paul. He said he was going to come up. But our next one is Alan Gomes. So do we have a relative of Alan Gomes, I think, here, no, or no?
Yes. We have his granddaughter here, Tippy. There she is right here, over there. And her daughters.
No.
Yeah, my daughter, Carly.
And the daughter, yep. That one just stood up. So, come on up. Wait. Oh yeah, you're big guy. You want to bring your daughter up too? You can do that. No? Come on. Okay, well, we were hoping that Paul Stroud would be here. He mentioned he would be. Gary Linden, don't be taking off. You're going to be getting up here for a photo shoot in a bit, so don't leave. Okay, all right. Got to go to the potty, all right. So I do have some notes here. I would have brought more notes, but Paul I thought was going to be here, and he knows him in a second. Half Hawaiian, this is what I have. Paul Stroud's Hawaiian name is Kalaki Mau, meaning the lucky one. He started surfing when he was about 7 years old, and he told Chris Ahrens, my dad was a good surfer. He grew up right in Waikiki, 2 blocks back from the beach. He had one of the first balsa boards that was ever made in Hawaii. It was made by the father of Alan Gomes, who was Abel Gomes. Abel was a woodworker. In 1919, they put a veneer, a thin layer of finer wood covering the surface of cheaper wood over the top and varnished the board, and he still has the board. Abel Gomes, Alan's father, was an accomplished Honolulu craftsman. A 1997 obituary on Alan described he was renowned for building and sought after wooden planks for Alan and his friends. And this is Abel Gomes, as well as canoes and paddles. Wally Forsythe, another one of our inductees, made sure that I knew after I had written an article on Tom Blake's development of the hollow board that Abel, and I didn't know this, but Abel Gomes actually built the boards for Tom Blake. Tom Blake was a designer, engineer kind of a guy, but it was Abel Gomes that put it together. Abel had actually been the one to build the first Blake hollow boards. Blake would provide the specs, and Abel would put it together. Tom Blake didn't actually make those hollow boards down here. There, Wally told me, this guy Abel Gomes made the boards. He was a woodworker. Tom wasn't that much of a woodworker, but he had the ideas, you know. He knew what he wanted. So Abel Gomes, we have some pictures of him, and there's some great history of Abel Gomes. He was one of the early on guys, a woodworker, that started building surfboards in Hawaii. And here we have Tippy, his granddaughter. And this over here must be a great-granddaughter. Is that right? Your daughter. Are you sure you don't want to come up? Come on. You can do it. Come on.
Come on, get up here.
Get up here. How often do you get there?
This for your great-grandfather.
You know? What's your name?
Carly.
Carly with a K or a C? Let's see. I have a granddaughter, Carly, myself. Step in here next to your mom. And she's beautiful like you. So anyway, on behalf of your grandfather and your great-grandfather, we'd like to present you with this award.
Give this to the great-granddaughter.
Yeah. And we have his jacket, his T-shirt, and his collectible mug. Thank you, Bruce. And you got to hang out here because you're going to come back up on stage holding that award with everybody else, and we do a photo shoot. So anyway, congratulations, and you have a proud, wonderful heritage right there. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, now, last but not least, where's Robbie Dick?
Everybody gets one. Everybody gets
Diana, we want you to
great hats but me.
Diana, come on up with him. Come on. Get up here. Come on, you get to do this.
This is Diana Dean from the Surf Museum. All of you know her. Without her help to do this, we wouldn't be here. So thank you very much. We're going to let her speak a little bit and tell us about the girls here.
Wait, let me get done with him and then she can do that. Okay. This is Robbie Dick. Right here. And you can tell he doesn't have much of a following. It's too bad. You know, he's been in the business a long time. You'd think somebody would at least like the guy. How much did you have to pay him? Anyway.
I'll arm wrestle you for that.
Robbie started surfing Malibu in 1958. He would produce surfboards in Malibu from 67 until 2002. He was a founding member of Natural Progression Surfboards. I've never met him. Is that right? Did I get that right? Come on. Which produced narrow, high-performance surfboards and modified longboards that were in vogue in California's Premier Point and Hollow Reef breaks. In the late 70s, his shaping helped usher in the transition from molded windsurfers to high-performance wave sailboards. He spent a lot of time traveling in pursuit of uncrowded waves, spending considerable time in Costa Rica from 1970 to the present. Since 1985, he has made surfboards under the custom surf design Hard Dick label. In 2002, he would relocate to Oregon coast at Cannon Beach, where he continues to make a few boards. You're up in Cannon Beach? Okay, and you're the Natural Progression guy. And growing up in my career, you know, because I started shaping in 60, and, you know, throughout the years, I've always heard of Robbie Dick and Natural Progression. He sold more boards than I did, I think. I used to like him. You know. Anyway, Robbie, let's have a few words from you. And you've got a great crowd of people here, and it's wonderful to meet you and have you here, and congratulations on your induction. You're inducted by this guy back here, I think. Come on, get up here.
Okay, Robbie, it's an honor from the days when you were using rough shaping the boards, getting the glue off the blanks for me, so it's a long way. As we used to say, let our dick shape your stick. So, Robbie, congratulations, buddy.
Thank you, Rich. I appreciate it. You know, I'm glad to have a bunch of friends down here because really I wouldn't have got into this if I didn't have a bunch of friends because they were the full suckers. And I'd make chip out of a crummy little board and ride it for a week and then sell it for $30. You know, get the next pile of, next gallon of resin and some blanks and make some more, you know, and that's how it started. And then of course, Rich.
In your dad's garage?
Yeah, well, yeah, in my dad's garage and a few others, you know. Anywhere I could put a piece of some LA Times newspaper down and spread some resin, you know. But anyway, I'm very thankful to Rich because Rich did start me in business. And then when he got, you know, I was working at the Hobie shop, and then Deke Keesby bought Rich a factory, got Rich a factory, and next thing you know, a few months later, Louver Draper of America backed him. And so that's how it started. Rich goes, hey, I got to do the artwork and do the promotion, you're up, you know? And that's what happened, you know? It was simple and sweet, and I was thrown into the fire while I was going to college, and it worked out, you know? And anyway, Terry was we did carpooling out to school, and he was on the dean's honor list. So he said, listen, we're gonna make this work. And so he would pick the classes, and we only went to school Tuesdays and Thursdays for 8 straight hours, 2 days a week. That way we could surf and build surfboards and that. And I'm very thankful to Terry. He kept the ball rolling, you know. He, you know, everyone got paid, and he promoted, and he did the stuff, you know. the real hard work they didn't get credit for, I feel. And I'm just part of the cog in the wheel, and that's how it is all the way through life. You know, you're as good as your friends, and they all help you, and you try to help them. And I'm so thankful for all the people that Gordon Solomon and Skip Emblem and Stephanie and Alan Sorlow, you know, and just Peter Townend, you know, and I saw Bill Fury earlier, and you know, he said hi to me. I hadn't seen him in like so long, since I was in the Long Beach Surf Club. But also too, I'd like to thank Don Hansen, Rich Harbour, and Hobie Alder, because they put me on their surf team. You know, I got free boards from them, and I got inducted into watching people make, you know, high quality surfboards, and it propelled me. You know, I wanted to do it, and they, you know, showed me the way. So there's a whole raft of people I could stand up at. We got to check out of the hotel pretty soon, you know. Otherwise, we had to pay for another day, you know. So anyway, thank you, Bob, for you know, putting this together, and Mickey too, you too, and all the other people, and meeting Gary Linden and Mike Mitchison and all these other people that've come along, you know, Tat Howard too. Thank you all, and thank you for being here, all my friends. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Bobby Dick. Well deserved. And the award he's holding up, these awards are great, and they're put to life by my good friend Mike Esser. He works tirelessly. He's a craftsman in his own right, and he just does a marvelous job on these boards and putting them together every single year. And they just come out great. There's nobody else that puts an award together like this.
Except Dave Reynolds.
I'll hold it for you.
I want to be like Dave when I grow up.
Oh, it's in the box.
This is my family right here in front.
Oh, awesome.
You can tell
Look
they're
at
from
this.
Oregon, right? Because they can just sit there. This is nothing.
We got a whole house full of dicks right here.
Anyway, it's a young family. They were given to me as a gift.
This is just another sunny day in Oregon, right? Here, hold that.
Oh, yeah.
You got a picture there, Haggerty guy? Thank you, Robbie Dick. Thanks for all your contribution to the industry, and well deserved. Now we're going to have a few words from Dan.
Thank you, Bree. Hey, first and foremost, you guys, let's give a big round of applause for these guys. If it wasn't for them making this happen, it would never happen. So thank you both very much. And I want to say, I also want to say thank you to everybody coming out today on behalf of the Surfing Museum, and a special thanks to all the inductees and all the inductees who have been inducted into the Surfboard Builders Hall of Fame. Thanks for shaping the world of surfing. We appreciate it. Let's give it up for all of them. Another piece that I want to acknowledge really quickly, and keep an eye on these two. When I called and said, hey guys, would you come and walk the inductees down the red carpet? They're like, yeah, sure. Can we learn how to build a board? Yeah. So I am planting a seed. One of the things I'm very, very worried about personally, especially after touching 1 million boards a day at the Surfing Museum, is how do we preserve the art of surfboard building? Not by taking a blank, not by looking at a computer, but how do we preserve the art of what all of you guys have done? So I'm going to throw out a challenge on behalf of our next generation. Annie and Juju, they rip. If you guys ever see them in the water, you'll be like, whoa, dude, you rip. But
don't take off in front of me.
Don't worry, they'll be way ahead of you. No, I'm kidding. No, but really, seriously, think about the mathematics of surfing. Think about all it took for you guys to build these boards. And think about our next generation. We can't lose the art of board building. You!
Thank you, Diana.
Okay. Right now, we're going to get up here for a group photo, so I want everybody with their awards that got inducted today, everybody that has been inducted up here, so come on up to the stage. We're going to move this podium a little to the side and get a group shot. Come on, everybody, come on. Greg, come on, everybody up here. Let's go. All of our inductees, let's go. Come on up here. Can we move this podium, do you think, Rat?
Shall we dance in the evening? Shall we move to the field of drum? Excited.